Hi everyone, welcome again to another episode of the Big Mic on G9ija TV. My name is Olatunde. I hope you guys are having a great day. We have another session of some events taking place this time around in Nigeria. So we're gonna have a kickoff now. What's basically is happened? It's we have this security situation in the country that it's creating a huge headache for everybody. I won't even call it a headache, a great concern. And this situation is which I've actually put up now. Yeah, so the first one we're looking at, it says bandits block Zamfara highway, abduct unspecified number of road users. I mean, this is just I don't know which other way to actually put this. So the information actually reaching us is bandits have blocked the ever busy Gusau Puntua Highway, kidnapping unspecified numbers of travelers. Yusuf, a commuter who is still stranded around an area, told Channels Television, this information is from Channels Television, that the bandits stormed the highway in the early hours of Thursday and mounted a roadblock around uh, Tazami axis of the road. According to him, the bandits in their large numbers with about 50 motorcycles. These are these guys are always when kidnap victims. Part of the ransom is motorbike with motorcycles, each carrying 3 persons abducted and unspecified of travelers. They entered the road around 7 a.m. till around 9 a.m. They were still there. We just parked by the roadside waiting for the military to clear the road. I see the bandits taking people inside the bush. The military gun truck moved to the area earlier. We were just hearing gunshots, but they are yet to open the road. Till now, no vehicle has been allowed to pass. Another commuter also confirmed Magazu, Cherry Road, which is also the road linking Gusau to Funtua, have been blocked by bandits this morning. The military men asked us to stop because the bandits blocked the road. We are still waiting for them to clear the road. When contacted, the spokesperson of the Zamfara State Police Command, ASP Yazid Abubakar, said additional troops, especially operatives of the Nigerian Police Mobile Squad, have been deployed in the affected area to clear the road. Zamfara is one of the several states in northwestern and central Nigeria terrorized by heavily armed gangs who carry out mass abductions for ransom as well as burning and looting homes. The gangs who maintain camps in a huge forest straddling Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, and Niger states have also undertaken large-scale kidnapping of pupils from schools in recent years. Bandits have recently stepped up attacks, particularly in Katsina and Zamfara state. Last month, a gang raided 4 villages in Katsina state, Sabua district, killing 25 people, mostly local vigilantes in apparent rebellion over military offensive on their hideouts, according to a local official. Bandits have no ideological leaning and are motivated by financial, but analysts and their officials have expressed concern over their increasing alliance with jihadists, waging a 15-year armed rebellion in the northeast. You know, when you actually look at this, right? The other day, I think about a few days ago, we were really talking about this. And one of the things I think that the government could sort of do is to desensitize these bandits kidnapping operations. But because people are constantly paying, because ransom are being paid, I understand the sort of, you know, it's a horrible thing to experience. Okay, it's a horrible thing to experience. But as long as ransom are being paid, these guys, look, we all know that there's a huge economic meltdown in the country currently, and we are hoping everything will be solved. But as it is right now, what the government is actually doing, you know, in terms of, you know, coming out, asking people, I think it's by states, um, you know, asking them not to pay ransom is a good start. Because the only reason people do something, because paying ransom means there's a return. They are taking a huge risk. That is the bandits and the kidnappers. So when they do this thing, and for instance, in terms of bandits mostly, they will go to some villages, communities, and ask them to start paying protection money. Like one of them, something Taj or something like that, but I call him despicable. This despicable guy will ask some villages to pay like 50 million for protection. And apparently, I don't think he's getting that sort of money, but he's been getting some money. This is what gives those guys, the motivation to continue to do this. But if ransom are not being paid, most families sometimes they will go private. They look for people who will act as go between, and unfortunately, most of the victims still get killed. So for the kidnappers, the bandits, it's a win-win for them. Because as well that they're beginning to blend in with those that has jihadist ideology. That is a dangerous mix. I think concrete steps have to be taken. We've said this before. And the way I see it is that we're not making so much noise about it. Yes, we can feel that there is something happening, but at the same time, we're not really, there's no, shall I say, there's some states in the north that has to be declared as, a state of emergency, but it is not happening. I don't know, maybe it's for political reason or for some other reason that maybe we don't know. So the next event that we're actually going to be talking about is about now we're coming back to Ogun State, and apparently in Ogun State we have Governor Abiodun coming up with some I call it a solid policy in terms of how to reduce prices of headlines. This is I'm actually reading from Legit. It said jubilation as Nigerian governor announces 3 steps to reduce price of food. The Ogun State governor, Dapo Abiodun, has disclosed 3 important moves to bring down the cost of food items in the state. Abiodun announced the development after his meeting with market leaders in the state, led by Iyaloja General Chief Mrs. Yemisi Abbas, on Thursday, September 12th. The governor's decision followed the sudden price of fuel, which has influenced the sudden increase in the cost of food items in the country. Governor Abiodun, the governor of Ogun State, has announced 3 major moves to lower food prices in the state, following the sudden increase in the cost of living in Nigeria after the petrol price hike. In a tweet on Thursday, September 12th, the governor said the decisions were taken at his meeting with the market leaders in the state. The governor Abiodun played the host to the market leaders, led by Iyaloja General Chief Mrs. Yemisi Abbas. And these are the Iyalojas that have actually met with the governor. According to Abiodun, the first step to making food items more affordable across the state is revamping the Gateway Trading Company to implement a price control mechanism through bulk purchasing, strategic selling in key zones, driving down costs. Brilliant. It's a good, I think it's worth trying. I'm not really sure if that might work because people will still buy and will get smart and say, well, I want to make a quick box. Furthermore, Abiodun has also announced the suspension of all market levies except for essential development and environmental fees to alleviate financial burdens on traders to ensure a seamless implementation. A market enforcement task force will be established to eradicate illegal levies and intimidation. So, Abiodun promises also low interest loans to traders. Additionally, the state government also promised to provide low interest loans and grants to support traders as well as enhance market waste management system. So, in a nutshell, he's come up with these 3 main pointers, which is to establish the gateway commercial location where goods will actually be sold, like food will be sold there in a way that will be cheap so that it can be passed down to the general populace. That is one. And secondly, what the governor decided also is that they will now, in the market, they normally pay all sorts of levies. So it's sort of reduce all the numbers of levies they'll be paying. So which means that there won't be that financial stress or the burden. So they will only be paying the essential. I think the one for environment, and I think can't remember what the other one is, which is good, which is really good. So once you actually have a central place where they can buy in bulk purchase that is cheap, so then the incentive is there for them to, they'll still make their profit. So that will sort of, feed downwards, okay, downstream to customers who will actually be buying cheaper, because the market people are actually buying at the cheaper rate, so they'll be able to pass down, the cost. So invariably, those other places, areas in the state, they don't have a choice, because people will generally go to where it is cheap to buy. So rather than stay where it is not, I mean, why would I want to buy a loaf of bread for, say, for instance, or let's just say tomatoes, basket of tomatoes, where they say generally is going for like 10,000. And now with the state government strategy in place, the policy they're actually implementing now, they're able to buy somewhere for like, say, maybe 5,000, 4,000. Who will not go there to go and buy? So that was why I was really happy that, to pick this up, because we need concrete steps. We don't need the one where people are just speaking some, it's not about hot air. It's not about just talking about, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But these are practical steps. So kudos to the governor. I think he's actually doing quite well. I really, really hope it actually works because the general populace, they need respite. And these are part of the practical steps being taken that will, ensure that, the price of, cost of living is coming down across board. So well done to the governor. So we have, I think the next one we actually have, we're now going to Turkey. So we've left Africa now. So we're going to Turkey. And this is about the president of Turkey, Erdogan, who is a member of NATO. This is quite interesting. You see, this man, in my personal opinion, man is not stable. I think 1 minute, anybody that relies too much on the Turkish president, Tayyip Erdogan, is, I think sometimes it can be what I refer to as a loose cannon. So 1 minute he is, he's supporting you, the next minute is, I mean, what really brought about this is that the Turkish president, Tayyip Erdogan, who in the past has been called a dear friend by Putin, dealt a blow to the Russian leader when he advocated the return of annexed Crimea to Ukraine. Whether the guy doesn't know what history is new, I don't know. Because 1 minute it seems as if the guy is sort of realigning himself with BRICS. Now he seems to be realigning himself. I think now he's doubling down now. So I don't know. Maybe they had a friendly they had they had a friendly talk with him. And one of the key things is that Turkey, a NATO nation since 1952, has maintained cordial relationship with Russia throughout Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, opposing Western sanctions placed on the country. At the same time, Ankara has sent Kiev armed drones and condemned Russia's decision to invade its neighbor. There's a lot of contradiction with Mr. Erdogan. Honestly, I think that is just what I really want to draw out of this. 1 minute is causing up to the Russian president Putin. If for a lot of people that they are not actually aware, I mean, Russia is currently engaged in war with Russia. And if people don't understand this, what really, what really happened, they won't understand the whole idea. Because the truth behind all of this is that, this is something that, the Americans or that NATO actually promised not to do, to extend eastwards. And they keep doing it right up until the doorstep of Russia. Now, having said that, that does not mean, personally, I don't really support Russia invading Ukraine, but I do understand why they're actually doing it. I do understand why they're actually doing it. Definitely. I do understand that. So the you know Erdogan in this sense need to really you know um sort of decide, if he wants to be on the left, be on the left. That is, look, if you're just there with NATO, be there. Okay, because look, a lot of people now realize what is going on. A lot of people realize that now. So it's really important that it takes a firm steps. If you want to be, he's already, I mean, Turkey is already a member of NATO anyway. So 1 minute they're cozying up to the end, they want to go into BRICS, they want to attend the meeting. The next minute, it's coming up with the same line as NATO, which I won't be surprised, because I would rather he just sticks to NATO's line since he's already a member of NATO. They are not trying to get into NATO. They are, and they're supposed to be the biggest army. They have the biggest army in NATO. So it's one of those things in life whereby you say you have a friend, and that 1 minute that friend is supporting you, the next minute the friend is fighting your enemies. And you're thinking, I can just imagine what will be going through Putin's mind, that man, this guy. But Putin is a very strategic person. In all of this, the truth is that I think Putin has been the bigger person in terms of he's done what he needs to do. I just think that our Western leaders need to really take, they need to wear what I call the big boy pants. Seriously. Because it's all of this, the victims have been the Ukrainian people. Those are the real victims in all of this. Because they did not, there was no need. Why do NATO have to extend? You're talking about sovereignty and all that. I don't want to get too much into that, but the truth of the matter is that there's a contradiction. They said those that lives in a glass house don't throw stones. That's all I will say. We have not seen the last of this because there's a lot of things happening. They're taking steps. The actual ruling class, or should I say the actual government in the Western countries, apart from Hungary, and I think two other European countries as well, taking the time to say, look, we want these things to be resolved. But some just seems to feel in Europe that no, there's a thing about you have, whether we like it or not, Russia is a superpower, whether we like it or not. The narrative or the propaganda is not going to change that. You can say that, but the truth will always come through. Unfortunately, there is so much to gain economically. People are saying, there's a matter of principle. I believe in principles as well. And I also believe that the Bible did say that, look, if you want to fight your enemy, and if your enemy has more, is bigger than you. In Africa, they will say stuff like, you want to use your small hand to collect a big hand, which is what is happening here. The actual fact is that the wise thing to do, one of the key things we need to realize, that there's a difference between being intellectually sound and having wisdom. Wisdom needs to be applied here. This is Russia's backyard. The strategic position into Ukraine means that they have the upper hand militarily. That's the truth. Whatever your style is, America too will not. I remember, I think in the 60s, during the time of JFK, when the Russians went Soviet Union, when I think they actually took their missiles down to Cuba. America was not of it. They were ready to go to war. Why do we think that the Russians won't do the same thing? Why do we? Well, I know that it's a different time frame, but the same argument could have been made. Just imagine where the Russians are saying, well, Cuba actually has their sovereignty as well. If they start saying, well, they have their sovereignty, so nobody should complain. Cuba can make its own decision, form strategic alliances, geopolitically around, and that's it. And America is supposed to respect that. But that did not happen. They just, the Russians, you know what? If you don't want a nuclear war, you better get out of our background. And the Russians left. But right now, I don't know why we're not borrowing a leaf from that. I don't understand what the arrogance is. Seriously. Sometimes I feel maybe there's a deeper thing. Is it like the Europeans have gotten on a train where nobody is mad enough to slam on the brake? Because the world right now, they're playing dangerous games. Right now, there's a lot of provocation actually going on. And I keep saying that I do not support Putin actually invading, but I do understand that this thing, any other country would do, quite frankly, would do the same thing. I think Putin wants to, march into Europe. I don't think so. In fact, I strongly believe that he doesn't want to do that because he could have done that. He could have done that. We need our leaders in Europe to actually, to really, really step up and start putting on some serious, so they should start getting, shall I say, wisdom ones on. They definitely need it. Because we should be talking about, the impact on generally, people in Europe do not really support, NATO actually, having or fighting, shall I say, proxy war against Russia. What's the benefit? What's the benefit in this? There's no benefit. Europe has actually grew wealthy over the years on the back of cheap Russian oil. I'm not saying that you should just accept anything based on certain factors, but let those things be sound. Let the reasons be genuine. We don't need to actually for it. We don't need to fake it. We don't need to narrate it. That's the truth. It's unfortunate. Well, last but not the least, I think I should actually talk about the debates. I don't know whether you guys actually look at, a few days ago on the 10th. It's about 3 days ago now, I think. Um, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. If I was American, I will vote Donald Trump. For whatever reason, when I look at that debate with ABC, one of the main, or should I say, one of the biggest news outlets in the US, they were just so biased. They were fact checking Donald Trump, but not once did they accord a balance to what they were doing. And even when I actually said, I remember the uncle's name that was there. I can't remember his name, but it was obvious from his face. He was, and it was more like three of them against. Actually, in fact, I was wondering, is Donald? Is he actually debating? Is he actually debating these people who are supposed to be neutral? ABC really messed up. Honestly, in fact, I'm going to get around to it. I'm going to go on their channel on YouTube, and I'm going to register my protest that, man, look, those people that were there, they should be fired. They were asking Kamala Harris, what is your policy? And she would say, well, I grew up. But I think the question was like, do you think the economy is in a good state, right now? Or do you think the Americans people are actually happy with it? And what is she, all she said was, well, I grew up. Hey, Lou, just answer the question. There's no policy. There's no policy. All she was just doing was just attacking them. And truly, she actually got under Trump. In fact, these people are perfected. I think they know how to wind Donald Trump. Then I should have just ignored and just stay on, focus on the and just leave the talk about, my rallies are bigger than your rally. That sort of. I understand what he's trying to do. He is who he is anyway. So there's nothing to say. We wish that is look. Yeah, there are certain ways that Donald Trump will talk, but one thing I want that people should know is Trump is not racist. He has not. Just go and look at him in the past. The left, The liberal left only started hating him the moment he says he was going to run for president. He now became an enemy. Now you can, thank God, a lot of people, especially, are now realizing that they don't have to be tied to the apron of the Democratic Party. That's the truth. A lot of black people are just voting Democrats because they've always done it. When you look at the historical aspect of the Democratic Party, they have been the one, their policies have always been, well, not always, their policies are always anti-black. They use the black people and dump them. Then once election is coming around, they will come to them again, I mean, look at Kamala Harris now bringing some of the rappers that was patronizing to black people. And I'm really glad that they came up with the fact that, black people are now asking other black people, not just other black people now. You don't want to vote just on the fact that because, we are lying. They're telling us, Kamala is black. Of course we know Kamala is not black. So let's leave that one. The matter is that vote on policy. It doesn't matter whether it's Republican. If it's the Democrats that have got the policy that will follow, the minorities in America, they vote for them. But you don't vote for. I mean, for instance, I don't know what leg that Kamala Harris has to stand. Everybody's talking about as if she's just coming in fresh. No, she's been the vice president for the past 3.5 years. 3.5 years they've been president. What has happened? And she's been changing her stance, flip-flopping from left to right and everything. It's been absolutely crazy. We've been asking the same question, why do people keep doing that? Why do they keep voting for them? Just, it's Democratic Party, then that must be it. I've seen some videos where you have all the Democrats who are, say, protesting. And I think on the other, they were protesting. There was a place where Donald Trump actually has a rally. And the person that was actually doing the interview went over to them, went over to where the Democrats were, and grabbed this black guy and took him to the Republican side. They would say, don't go, they will kill you, they will attack you, they are monsters, they are racist, they hate you, they are filled with hate. Now, and I've come to realize that these people, the Democrats, always accuse the Republicans of the very thing they are doing. They are the one that are doing it. They are the one that are doing it. It's crazy, it's mad. They are the one that are doing it. I'm going to be getting some videos up, very soon. And they were asking the questions. When this guy got there, he was like, the lady who was doing the interview said, he's afraid. And they said, this was on the Republican side. They were like, come on, guy, why are you afraid? They were mostly white people there. And of course, there were some other black people there. And they were like, why are you afraid, bro? And the guy was, for almost an hour, this guy was looking around as if somebody was about to slap him or to hit him on everything been in him. They've been, shall I say, imprinting in his psyche. Republicans are evil. Republicans are bad. Look, I'm not an American, but I just find it so interesting. And I know that I think my interest actually came out of the fact that whenever is this issue, the American election coming up, it impacts the world. Now the world is breaking into, from unipolar to multipolar. China is now in, I mean, if they've not even become the sole superpower, well, not sole superpower, Russia has demonstrated that they are still there. You have India. There are new nations that are, there are new power. There is this paradigm shift. The world is changing. It's so strange. And for people that don't know this, I'm going to wake up one morning, the sort of clouds that the Western world used to have is fading out. When America is overusing economic sanctions, it's natural for other people to start saying, like, is it because we're using the dollars? So then they are changing. Look at what Russia did. Russia, I don't know how many thousands of sanctions have been placed on Russia. And things have to change. People need to realize that it is no longer, just about, there was a time if you want to go to the best place in the world, all you need to do is come to the Western side. But now go to Dubai, you look at things that you're like, what? Most of these things that you not even see it in the Western world. I mean, the clout is there for the Western world. It's still there. But if the Western world keep on following the path they've been following since, gang up. When you talk about democracy, but then people see you, bullying other nations. When they see that, I mean, come on. It's natural that they will start gravitating to other places. What happened to the integrity that we used to have? A lot of us actually grew up that America can do no wrong. But now, we're growing up now, we're now realizing that America is not exactly perfect. We see America taking some steps, taking action without United Nations, say so. And that's what it is. So now, with what is actually happening right now is that whether you like it or not, would I prefer the world to be the main superpower? I would. Because there are still some checks and balance in place, in comparison to other places. But with where they're doing now, the world is able to compare between Putin, the president of China, Xi, the Taiwan issues and everything. Everything don't have everything in life does not have to be war. It's changing. Yeah, I mean, India is doing great things. They've landed, they've landed their rockets on the moon. Oh, the things that used to be the sole preserve of the Western world, it's no longer the world no longer has a monopoly in that area. It's changing. Other countries are, now the Western world with their common strategic alliance are finding out that other parts of the world who are now majority are moving in the opposite direction. There needs to be change. That's, you don't want to be like shall I say, like a warship in the middle of maybe somewhere near a coast and receiving, that they actually look on their radar and also there's another ship coming towards them and they're like, so they are telling the other side, change course. I'm a battleship, loaded with all sorts of, weaponry and all that. They just said, you have to change course. And like, what? So the commander, I mean, that's how the story goes. The commander's like, I am, a battleship fully armed with nuclear missiles and everything. I said, well, you have to change course because I am a watchtower in the middle of the sea. It's change course. The West has to change course. The leaders in the West need to grow. No longer about doing, pretending that you are Superman and everything like that. No, the West now need wise leaders. Wise leaders who will now be preparing themselves to be now competitive. Because when you go to countries like Japan, Singapore, that's the future. I mean, I've never been to those places, but thank God for YouTube. Now we can see everything everywhere and we can see the difference. It's not about populists, it's not about hateful ideology or hateful, you don't have to pretend that you're doing, especially when we start playing some smartness with democracy. In my view, democracy is still the best way to go. But when those who are supposed to be custodians of democracy are playing with democracy, that the other people are stupid. They know exactly what we're doing. You give some people powers they shouldn't have. They are not voted in by the people. So what are we doing? Who are we fooling? Well, I'll be coming up with more story. I think our focus will be doing more of the American. So if you're not really interested in American politics, sorry, but also be coming up with things across Africa as well, talking about the things that are happening. And we're bringing in some guests as well. I mean, this world is the only one we have, and I think that it's always important that everybody speaks up, because one of the most important thing we need to do is that if you see evil happening, if you see something that is wrong, and you keep quiet and say, well, it's not my business, let other people talk, you become complicit in it. He said, when we see bad things happening and good people don't talk, we all want a good life. We all do. We all do. Well, we're not doing it on the back of, hate. Some things are happening, some things have happened in the past. Yes, we didn't like it. Oh, black people have been treated, wrongly and all that. We move beyond that. The past has nothing to offer but lessons. That's just what it is. And we will do well to learn that lesson. If not, we will be bound to make that same mistakes again. Thank you, everyone. Just want to say, it's from me, Tunde. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time on the Big Mic for G9ija TV. Thank you, guys, and God bless.